Alan's hand reaches out to shake mine and I gladly take it. Yeah, just like how I'll be gladly taking it later. Woohoo! Hello, and welcome to my Dear Hatchet Man. This is a Yandere dating sim in which you move to a small rural town by yourself and end up meeting a lone woodsman named Alan. He's really nice at first, but as you get to know him, some of his behaviour doesn't seem quite right. Let's get started. What is your name? Edie, and I am female. I tend to run away from my problems. It's how I ended up here in the first place. Doomsbury. Located somewhere in Massachusetts with a small population of 30,000 people or so. Is that small? It's known for being a college town, where most young adults have taken over the streets and businesses. It's got a rich history, from cryptids to devil-worshipping cults. Oh, jeez, okay. If you're a gang of crime-solving teens, you'd have your work cut out for you. But the townspeople revel in the mystery, urban legends and strange folklore. Considering how quiet the town usually was, anything that was a break from the monotony gained notoriety. Many people, especially families, would come and dump their kids for spring or summer break. At a cryptid-infested hole? You know, a boomer's worst nightmare. I dug my claws into the sleepy town, attending Doomsbury University. For the past few months of my fall semester to settle, I fell into a routine. Eat, sleep, study, and repeat. At first, I was excited to come from the next town over. Receiving that acceptance letter was the best thing to happen to me. I was handed a new life, one way more different than who I was. I wanted it more than anything, so the chance was given to me. And I took it. Hook, line, and sinker. I was doing fine for a while, but it was hard to make friends. I was isolated. The only times I left my house was to grab a slice of pizza or some coffee from the cafe. I sort of trapped myself in the cycle. Sometimes I wouldn't bother to eat and slug down sleeping pills. To say this move wasn't going as smoothly would be the understatement of the century. I don't sound like I'm doing very well. It's not like I hate it here. Maybe I was just doomed to be miserable, no matter where I went. I mean, I'm much happier here than where I used to be. That's not saying much though. I wandered into the woods, thinking that maybe a walk could wear me out and I could catch up on some sleep. There was nothing fun about laying on my bed disassociating until I passed out. So I decided to leave my cave for some late night snacks from the local convenience store. Another staple of Doomsbury is the mystical and expansive forest that surrounds it, with trails that could take you to the many businesses and homes. All the natives knew the trails like the back of their hand, and I was so sure that I did too. I was pretty familiar with my usual path on my walks. Walking in the woods at night, I would not have the balls. Staring at the same screwed up sidewalks or kicking the occasional pebble along the dirt paths. Walking didn't take up much of my time, though I wish it did. I wouldn't say I'm much of a nature lover, but the woods do look nice, especially during golden hour. Tonight I decided to take a different path. I wanted to see what the woods would bring me. A shortcut. Or maybe an epiphany, you could say. Epiphany? No! Murder! Maybe I could find a cool looking stick from the ground and pretend it's a sword. I'll admit, it doesn't sound like much. But given the circumstances, I have to work with what I got. It was starting to get colder. I could tell by the numbness nipping at my fingertips. I jammed my hands into the pockets of my pants trying to get some feeling in them. Wait a minute, where exactly am I? God damn it. See, this is why we don't go out at night in places we don't know. Because now, we are lost, and we might get our ass eaten by a demon. Well, this was just perfect. I'm all alone in the woods with no service, no sense of direction, and it's dark out. That's exactly what I get for being adventurous. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Yeah. My eyes scanned around through the thick foliage of the trees. How long was I walking for? I couldn't have walked that far out, but it was too little too late for that now. The soles of my feet were aching. Begrudgingly, I sat on a large rock as a sort of makeshift seat to relax and collect my thoughts before I had a mental breakdown. I sigh, slightly grimacing from the cold hard surface of the rock. I dropped my plastic bag of goodies onto the grass, my warm face crinkling from the frigid breeze. I don't know what to do. I can't believe I'm lost out here. If I died, it could be weeks before my body was found. I sniffle, wiping away the small tears forming at the corners of my eyes. At least I have my snacks. Silver lining, I suppose. My hand reaches down to rummage the bottom of my bag, feeling around for what I could get my hands on. I feel something wrapped in plastic and pull it out. I grabbed an off-brand healthy granola bar that was coated in chocolate and some caramel drizzle. Not exactly the most exciting choice, but screw it. I needed something to chew on. Maybe I can chew on Alan's, later. I struggled with the wrapping. It was getting in between me and my pseudo-healthy crunchy bar. I heard a crack. And not the nice kind of crack. You know, like light crack. The deafening silence was disturbed by what seemed like the sound of a twig snapping. Jump! My legs lock me in place as I shoot upwards in fear. What the hell made that noise? I was starting to get the sense I wasn't the only one here, and that I was being watched. Oh no! Calm down, Yinny. Maybe it was just an animal. Or maybe not. Of course I could be murdered in the most cliche way ever. I gawk at a pair of glowing, predatory eyes emerging from the floor of the forest. Slender Man, is that you? My heart was racing, and I could feel my blood running cold. I think he's getting closer to me. Scream! I don't want to attack him. What if he kills me? Alright, attack him. Stay the hell away from me! I look around for anything to use as a weapon. Now I regret tossing that cool stick aside while on my way back. Wait, my snacks! I grabbed my plastic bag. While not weighted in the slightest, I could throw a snack or two to make him at least mildly annoyed. I also pointed my granola bar at him like some kind of sword. Not exactly the most threatening sight. If you're gonna try and kill me, you're gonna work for it. And you better hope I don't turn the tables.
How cute.
Oh, there's voice acting. Oh shit. I didn't know there was voice acting. I couldn't make out his features well, but his hair stuck every which way out of his head and he appeared to be holding something. Oh, he's adorable. A hatchet. Nah, you get that thing away from me. And by thing, this time I do not mean his peanut. Something wrong. You look like you've seen a ghost. The guy seemed oblivious to the situation at play here. I was so stunned I couldn't even speak. My eyes were too focused on the hatchet he had resting on his shoulder. It's just so casual-like. Maybe you can show me his other hatchet later if you know what I mean. The guy tilts his head to the side, confused by my uneasiness. Oh, this? He held one of his hands up before letting the hatchet slip from his fingers onto the patch of grass beneath him, moving slowly to emphasize that he was harmless. He did all of this while putting up a friendly smile. Take it easy. I'm not gonna hurt ya. Are you lost? Oh yeah? What makes you think I can trust some guy with an axe in the middle of the forest like it's nothing? The stranger only replied to my question with a smile. It was only making me more nervous. But I'm nervous. Are you nervous? What do you think? Do you think this guy's good boyfriend material? Well, answer me. It's a hatchet. Yes, I can see that. Not an axe. Oh, we're gonna do that now, are we? I blinked at him. Was he mocking me? Is this all just one big joke at me for him to laugh at? He was acting way too casual and didn't try to pull anything once. Was I overreacting? I didn't put down any of my defenses though, as I continued to eye him suspiciously. Are you gonna answer my question now? He continued to have that small, almost innocent smile plastered on his face. It kind of charmed you. Yes, slowly, but cautiously I lowered my guard. However, my eyes stayed glued to him, waiting for the moment he might do something unexpected. Answer mine first. He let out a chuckle at my response. I noticed his movements weren't threatening and seemed to be casual. Alright, I'll comply. He put his arms up, almost like he was trying to surrender and play off my interrogation. Would you rather be stuck in the woods then? No, then you should trust me. Easier said than done. He placed a hand over his mouth, trying to hold back a chuckle at my snarky remark.
Well,
you got me there. But do you know how to navigate your way back? Do you? There was a small beat of silence before he raised his hand. He was wearing brown fingerless gloves. I know these woods like the back of my hand. You learn a thing or two when you live out here. I'll even walk in front of you so you don't feel all antsy. I took a few seconds to think over his offer. I didn't exactly want to be stuck here forever until my body got discovered by a search party or eaten by vultures. Whatever this guy was, he was the best choice that I had for now. Fine, lead the way. He smiled at me, reaching down to the ground and picking up his sturdy hatchet, perfectly sticking out from the soft tufts of grass. He slung the tool back on his shoulder. If I catch you doing anything remotely suspicious, I'll start swinging. I hear you loud and clear. Oh, he's so cute though. He offered me his hand. I could barely make out the calluses and a few scratches from his hand. I was still a bit hesitant, but I took it anyway.
let's go.
Let's get going and get you somewhere safer. His grip was surprisingly strong, but he wasn't squeezing my hand or anything. Oh, wow, so now we know his grip is strong. The trees were becoming less dense the more we walked together, with the light of the moon guiding us through the foliage. Now and again, he would give me small glances, and in return I got a better glimpse of his features. Particularly, his eyes were the most noticeable. Both of them were a different color. I couldn't help but stare at them like I had spotted a rare creature in the wild. I don't think I've seen you before. Are you new around here by chance? I was a bit caught off guard by surprise, not expecting him to bring up a conversation. I just realized I'd been looking up at him without saying a single word. Well, I moved here from the next town over not too long ago. He packed up with interest. What made you decide to stay in good old Doomsbury? I merely shrugged at him. I had a lot of reasons for staying here. I doubt this guy wants to hear about my problems, and to be frank, he was a near-perfect stranger. I won't spill my guts, but I'll tell him something. Wanted to get out of my bubble. To put it simply, Doomsbury University seemed like the best school for me. How's that going for you? Oh, you know, perfect, fine, super.
That bad, huh?
I cringed, so much for being vague and mysterious. The guy chuckled more under his breath as he continued to guide me through the trees and bushes. We both stayed silent, occasionally shattering the silence with small talk. He could tell I was uneasy around him. He seemed a bit sullen, like he'd been looking forward to talking with me. My short responses and constant fidgeting told him that I was still on my guard. Not that he blamed me. He was sure I'd be cautious of some dude with a hatchet too. As we continued our trek, the tension we had before slowly dissipated and I stopped being afraid of my own shadow. With time, the unkempt dirt path of the woods merges with the edge of the sidewalk, a sign of civilization. What a relief! I could practically kiss the ground right now. Looks like we finally made it. Oh my god. Oh my god, thank you! Jeez, I owe you one. I finally let go of his hand, stuffing mine into my pocket. Don't mention it wasn't an issue after all. I turned over to him, scratching the back of my neck and feeling the chills of the cold air tickling my skin. Listen, you didn't murder me and that's all I could ask for. I should at least return the favor. Yeah, whip it out. The guy didn't even give it a thought as he grinned ear to ear. Tomorrow, meet me back in the woods so we can get some more snacks from that place. He pointed to my plastic bag. Oh, sure thing. It wasn't until I looked down that I saw a decently sized hole had torn its way. Only a few of my snacks survived. It must have ripped along the way. I groaned. Are you kidding me? That was my dinner. I'll get you some more stuff tomorrow, deal? I looked at him with sad, tired eyes, and he gave me a sympathetic smile. For some reason, I trusted him. I don't know how else I could explain it. Deal. And thanks again. I'll see you around then. He continued to stand in place while I turned my back from the woods, walking into my neighborhood once again. Stopping at the front door, I gave him one last wave. I couldn't tell from the distance, but he seemed to wave back. I'm so tired. Exhausted. I immediately threw myself onto my bed, tossing the plastic bag on the floor. Finally, I can get some rest. My feet are already aching. How long did I walk? The Vash plushie! The Terror Vash plushie! That's so cute. I have this plushie. It's behind me on my shelf somewhere. Shoutouts to Teru Vash. Adorable. Whoever that guy was. Wait, I didn't get his name. Bad news? Yeah, bad news. That's what that guy's gonna be later. I'll ask him tomorrow. I feel heavy, like I can't get up. Something is on top of me. Hey, yo. God. How long did I sleep? I must have passed out and slept like a rock. Last night. Oh yeah. I got lost in the woods and met a strange dude after he scared the living daylights out of me. And he promised me some snacks for today. I feel some mix of comforting jitters sinking in. It hasn't been long since I moved in. And I wasn't exactly rubbing shoulders with my neighbors, but I still talked to them. I never heard them mention anything about a man living in the forest. If they knew, they would have given me a heads up and I probably would have reacted differently. Right? Was I overthinking this? Probably. I should probably check my phone. I held the button on the sign, tapping my foot as I waited for it to light up. My home screen brightens as the notifications trickle onto it. An unknown number. Hey, sorry to bother you. What chapter are we studying for Professor McCroy? This is Erica, by the way. Erica? Yeah. She's part of my English class. I think we exchanged phone numbers because our professors recommended it. Initially, I didn't plan to ask for anyone's number, especially since I didn't know anyone in that class. I barely even talked to them other than occasionally asking someone for a pencil. Erica was the one to approach me first. She wasn't talkative either, only answered questions sometimes and gave snarky remarks on a whim. I didn't know much about her, other than she'd be a constant center of attention with her outfits. She had a keen eye for fashion, and she would constantly amaze me with how she would walk into class. She breezed in effortlessly like a runway model. Some outfits were a project for her fashion design class, others with her simply wanting to look good that day. I wish I knew how to dress coolly, but I do not. It was pretty surprising to find out that she was majoring in interior design. She'd be the chicest interior designer, that's for sure. Erica seemed like she had her shit together, from what I could glean from the few times I spoke to her. Chapter 4. I send the text and proceed to let out a groan, while dragging myself up from the bed. I would much rather sleep the day away, but I was promised snacks. It's been the first time in a while that I've been motivated to do something other than rot in my room. Damn, that's kinda sad. Aww. Thanks. I chuckled out a response. It was kinda cute. Before I go out, I need to refuel for the day. I reached out to the fridge, pulling with a bit of force thanks to how janky the handle had become over time. I should get that looked at. Everything around this house needed some touch-ups though. Maybe I shouldn't have turned down the idea of having a roommate, but I do enjoy my privacy a lot and I wasn't keen on losing that anytime soon. The cool air of the fridge nicked the tip of my nose as my eyes searched for food. It was practically empty. A slice of leftover pizza. This could fill me up for the time being. I bet something else that Alan has could fill me up later. It's been there for a while, might as well not let it go to waste. Day 1. I squeezed my eyes shut, feeling attacked by the blinding glow of the sun. It's too bright today. I walked to the other side of the road, frisking to the overgrown forest. That was a sound. I stuffed my phone in my pocket. It wouldn't be of any use since my service couldn't reach in the middle of the woods anyway. I walked through my familiar path, trying to remember where exactly the guy wanted to meet. He was pretty vague on the details, telling me to simply meet him in the woods. Not gonna lie, it just hit me how sketchy that sounded. I fell into a daze, walking until everything around me looked strange. Well, that didn't take long. I guess I just have to sit back and wait for him to find me.
Oh, you actually came.
Not yet, I haven't. Ayo! I heard his voice again. It sounded almost in disbelief. I turn around to face him, his eyes are wide, but a smile slowly forms. He seemed happy to see me. You thought I was gonna ditch you or something? Well, maybe. He laughs nervously under his breath, scratching the back of his neck. Like I said, I owe you one, and I want my snacks. I can't turn down an offer like that. I got a chuckle out of him, easing him more and more into a conversation. It soon subsides again into an awkward silence, and I shift my eyes around trying to think of what to say next. Oh, I didn't catch your name, stranger. I didn't throw it. Oh, I just got that. No! Groan. Ooh. Oh my god. I can't believe you just said that. You're way too young to be making uncle jokes. I couldn't resist. He flashes a smile at me, one that was way too proud of himself for that line. Alan. Alan Orion Constance Otai Vermont III. That's a very long name. Is that really your full name? I squint my eyes at him. No, it's just Alan Orion. Wow, you're already lying to me. I can't believe you, Alan. Literally. I shot back at him with a snarky tone. Alan proceeds to place his arms behind his back, flashing his rather sharp teeth. Ooh, I like when they have sharp teeth.
Are you gonna tell me your name, Doe Eyes?
Cute. He leans in, not too close for comfort, but enough that I could take a good look at his features. He had scars on both sides of his cheeks, and they were small. One looked like an X marked on his face. His shaggy hair had bleached tips on some ends. Then my eyes fall into his, staring directly at me like some new creature he discovered. Both of them are different in color. I couldn't help but feel a chill run down my spine. It seemed creepy, but also familiar. I was staring at him again. Oh, Yinny. Wait, what? That face. Do you see that? Oh, pleasure to meet you, Yinny. Yinny, why do you go oh when he makes an unhinged face, huh? Pleasure to meet you, Yinny. Alan's hand reaches out to shake mine and I gladly take it. Yeah, just like how I'll be gladly taking it later, woohoo! So, about those snacks. I grinned mischievously as soon as he brought up the topic of snacks. That's exactly what I was here for. Oh, right, we should get some. There's this convenience store around the food box, right? I go there from time to time. You do? And I would assume you know your way out of the woods, right? Hopefully. Alan chuckles, sensing my anxiety about being able to get out of the forest. You seem to get lost easily, huh? What'd you do without me, Doe Eyes? He keeps calling me that, even after I told him my name. It fluttered you. My face turned red. My eyes shifted around and I began to laugh. I was merely trying to brush off his comment. Come to think of it, I did find him to be quite cute. There was a beat of silence.
All right.
I'll lead the way. Cool. We both walked together, or more like, I followed wherever Alan walked. On the occasion, he would stop and mutter to himself under his breath. I could have sworn I heard him counting the trees, pointing at them before smiling at me and beginning to walk again. It made me curious about just how he seemed to know where we were. Despite how far we walked, it all looked the same to me. It was starting to scramble my brain. So what's your whole thing here? I mean, I'm assuming you live on your own out here. Not anywhere in town. It's none of my business, but how come no one has ever told me about you? Alan looks up to the sky, giving some thought to my question as his arms droop side to side as he walks. He didn't appear to be slowing down. I guess no one really acknowledges me or knows I live here. Everyone here kinda keeps to themselves, which I appreciate. Wait, do you not have any friends? Alan shook his head. Nope, the most faces I've seen are when I visit the store to restock on food. Family? There was a small pause, but Alan didn't stop walking. Left them a long time ago. Oh, dunno. Figured that I live better by myself. Nobody bothers me, I don't bother them. So you're a hermit? Alan chuckled, scratching his cheek. You could say that. I nodded, understanding Alan in a way. Not wanting to interact with others, living peacefully out in the woods. And then a funny thought came to my mind. But you do realize that you're talking to me and joining in on a snack quest, right? Not very hermit-like. Did I break your zero human interaction record? Alan's eyes latched onto me, his lips tugging a smile. I guess you did. I don't mind you being my first. Well, it didn't take us long to get to the convenience store. I didn't think I minded the distance. Didn't know a conversation with someone I knew for less than 24 hours could be so distracting. The obnoxiously bright lights of the store pulled me out of the trance. There are a couple of people in the store, mostly older men getting cases of beer or students getting a quick lunch. A worker mutters, "Welcome," as we step in, not bothering to look up from their phone. Well, pick anything you want. It's on me. I perk up as soon as he said that. My eyes scan around every corner of the store, wondering what I could get. Ice cream, slushie, or a soda? Ice cream. I reach into the cold freezer, grabbing myself whatever seemed most appealing. Alan flashes me a cheeky smile. He seemed giddy that we got the same thing. I looked back and saw that Alan was also scavenging around for snacks. Both of us were smiling brightly, like children running amok the aisles, not even bothering to get a basket for our collection. Alan instantly flashes a proud smile at me, holding his snacks securely. Got everything you need? Yeah, let's go. Alan drops everything onto the counter to pay, only to receive an eye roll from the cashier. They seem like they just want to be done with their shift, to clock out and go home. We quickly leave the store after paying, bags filled with a bunch of goodies. I'm already getting hungry. He mumbles out loud as I enjoy my ice cream. I expected him to reach for the bags and start rummaging through our snacks, but instead he unzips his jacket and exposes a hoard of chocolate bars. I blink, confused. Where did you get those? When they weren't looking. Alan pulled a chocolate bar out of his coat. His fingers fidget with the plastic wrapper as he tears it open. Not okay. You stole it. He then takes a bite, smiling proudly to himself.
Yes.
I said it was on me. I thought you'd be paying. Alan continues to munch on his chocolate, proceeding to wordlessly fish out another one. Boop. He playfully nudges it on the tip of my nose, tantalizing me to partake in his stolen loot. I promise it'll taste better. No, we're not doing this. I was a bit hesitant, but I did end up taking the chocolate and unwrapping it. It was just candy. What's gonna be so special about it? That's what I thought until I ate it. And he was right. It does taste better. You didn't know! I laugh in disbelief. Wow, you're actually right. Holy shit. You see? I still couldn't believe that he had stolen candy. While it was kind of impressive that he did so nonchalantly and with ease, I still couldn't help but feel bad that he went out of his way to grab enough to share. Offer him a taste of your treat, like the treat in my hands or the other treat. And then it seems fair, right? I motioned my ice cream towards him. I was shaking it to signal Alan to indulge a bit. He tilts his head like a confused dog before getting the hint. Oh. He leans forward. I felt his hand graze against mine, pulling me a little bit closer to take a bite. His lips smacked. He takes a moment to savor the taste. Then his eyes gaze up at me, staring with a smirk spread on his face. One I couldn't exactly pinpoint what he was trying to say, but my heart felt like it was pounding. Just like how it will be pounding me later. Woohoo! You have good taste, doe eyes. Huh. Alan then steps away, continuing to eat his forbidden chocolate. Hey! I call out before following him right on his tail. We kept walking for a few minutes. Our bag of snacks almost empty. The only thing left was wrappers and packaging. We seemed to have lost track of the time, as I finally began to notice the sun was about to set. It was really quiet, with only the occasional rustling of the leaves from the trees and the rush of the water growing louder. Martian Lake. I note seeing a rather silly-looking sign of an alien. During my short time here, I never visited the lake, but it was the first thing you would see when driving here. Martian Lake sounds pretty cute though. The crystal blue water and soft sand that almost looked pink thanks to the sunset caught my eye. Why did they name it that? There was a beat of silence and I looked over to Alan, who seemed distracted. He was hunched over the sand and seemed to be looking for something. From what I've heard back in the 60s, people allegedly saw an alien walking around here. In the blink of an eye, the alien ran into the woods and it was never seen since. Sounded like a typical Doomsbury legend. Do you believe the story? Alan stood straight up again, picking up a rock and observing it. He simply shrugged at my question. After living here, I would believe almost anything. Oh, so you have seen some things. Gosh, you could say that. Alan tosses the stone up a couple of times in the air before flinging it across the lake. My eyes follow it, and to my astonishment, the The stone skips across the water with accelerating speed, never stopping. I squinted my eyes the further and further it got until it was nothing more than a speck, and then it was gone. Alan let out a satisfied hum and my mouth hung open in astonishment. Can you teach me how to do that? I look up at Alan with hopeful eyes.
Sure.
Sure thing, Doe Eyes. Yeah. Alan approaches me, picking up a random stone as he did. He examined it, turning it over in his hand. You can't just use any rock. Has to be very flat. Just like Pud Pud, who's currently very flat. And there's gonna be a little nudge for you to place your fingers on and grab onto. Then he grabs my wrist gently, handing me the rock and places it in the palm of my hand for me to hold. Now before you do anything, people tend to throw it like a frisbee. Don't throw it with your wrist, sling your whole arm. I focused, taking into consideration what Alan told me. I felt a lot more confident in this throw. I take a deep breath and toss it again. I did it. It was a lot slower and didn't go as far as Alan, but still. I cheer and Alan gives me a thumbs up. We walk back to my place. The sun had already set with the moon and stars taking its place. I stretch, bending and stretching my legs after all that walking. I had fun today. Did you now? I nodded to him, approaching my doorstep and leaving him behind. We should do something like that again. Alan's eyes widen and he appears to be quiet for a moment. We should. Aww. I turn my door handle, opening it slightly. See you around, Alan. Much like yesterday. As soon as I entered the house, it was as if all my energy drained out of me. I didn't even bother to go upstairs to my bedroom. I fall onto my sofa, face first. I'm just gonna sleep here. The sound of the TV slowly drowns out the sound of my breathing. And soon, every worry I've had has faded away. Why did that kind of sound like someone came in? Yeah, that. Alright, day 2. I'm excited. Whoa, I could have sworn I heard the door. Holy shit, my head was pounding from the intensity. What a way to start the morning. I gotta stop waking up like this in the cold sweat. What's up with me lately? Check messages. My hands scrambled to where I left my phone. It only took a few minutes before the vibration signaled me where it was located. There you are. No new messages. Not from anyone I knew in particular. Just the usual social media notifications that I couldn't be bothered to check, and a missing person alert. That's probably what violently woke me up. It gave a basic info description, but it seemed to be out of my control. I decided to ignore it. I let out a yawn as I stretched. Despite sleeping on the couch, I was more than comfortable. No soreness, no nothing. It was quite rare. Now, what to do to tackle the day? Oh, I guess I should probably eat. Yes, that would be good. Breakfast is very important. First things first, I need some new clothes to wear for the day. My room was practically overrun with dirty laundry. I could barely make out the shaggy carpet floor by the mass amount of sweaters, pants and underwear. I should clean this up. But my empty stomach was winning the battle for this one. Not that I had much money, but I needed to at least get a few groceries. I don't plan on starving to death. It was a little earlier than I expected to get out. It was the earliest I'd gotten up in a while. Not since my first few days living alone. Jeez. Back then I was practically glowing with the ambition to start classes, ready to face any challenges head on. Until now, that is. I would either show up late or barely manage to reach my classes. It felt like a chore, like most things. You know who's not a chore? Pud Pud, you're never a chore to me. Oh, look at you. Most days. I hope I don't wake up at all. Whoa, hey! That's not true. Oh, I wonder who... Erica. She doesn't usually call. We mostly talk through text. It got me curious. What could she possibly want to call me for?
You made it!
Yay, hi! I'm not interrupting anything important, am I? I'm just on my way to get some food, but I'm fine talking. Is there a reason you called? I was only met with silence, but I could vaguely hear Erica make some sort of noise like she was deep in thought. Eric, are you free later? I guess?
You guess.
I roll my eyes, reply nervously. I don't know, what do you want me to say? Erica had this strange sense of dry humor. It flew over my head. I constantly worry if I ever say the wrong thing to her. It was hard to tell by her blank expressions. Sorry, let me rephrase. I just want to know if you want to study together for Professor McCroy. My roommate is off to do some arbitrary adventure and I don't want to be cooped up here. How's that sound? I could get caught up on some things, but then rotting in your hermit cave. I sighed. Erica was unfortunately sort of aware of my situation. She had this almost supernatural sixth sense of being able to read other people. You wound me, Erica. I'll meet you at the park. With that, we both hung up. Guess those are my plans for today. I continued to walk, taking the opportunity to make a mental grocery list. I could pick up the faint sound of chopping wood. It must have been Alan. I followed the sound to where it led me, not too far off from the small neighborhood of the college dorms. ever since I went into the thick wood. But I can't read, you're in the way. Even when I went into the thick woods, I could still see the houses from a distance. Maybe we can see Alan's thick wood later. Yay! Occasionally the sound would deafen, but I was getting closer. Alan had to be around here somewhere. That is, if it was Alan and not some other weird guy from the woods lurking about. I snorted through my nose at the laughable idea. It only took a few moments of walking, and I was able to spot that familiar wild man from the woods. Oh, doe eyes. What a pleasant surprise. Can't help yourself but go in the woods, eh? I'm just as surprised as you are, Alan. I just followed the sound of chopping wood and I figured it was you. I could see beads of sweat slowly falling off Alan's temple. There are a bunch of small pieces of wood scattered around him. He dropped his hatchet to the ground and dusted himself off any remaining wood chips. I'm just gathering firewood. It was starting to get cold in my cabin, and I used up my last batch last night after I dropped you off. A fireplace in a cabin in the woods. Sounds like you're living the dream. Alan's hand went to the back of his neck and he laughed. Far from it, but it took a second to pause. A huge gust of wind blowing away some leaves, dancing along with the rustling of the branches from the trees. A short cold breeze hit us by surprise. It's nice most of the time. You're the type to say you're one with nature, huh? Is that really a bad thing? I get to feed the raccoons from my trash. I can't imagine what else I'd do on a Wednesday night. They're like my pets. Raccoons? Alan, that's how you get your face scratched. Alan flashed me a smile, not speaking but proceeded to the point of his cheeks, almost as if he was showing them off proudly like badges of honor. Don't tell me.
Rocky and Horde can be quite a handful. It was all my fault, though. I was being a little pushy with them.
You named them. I like giving them names. Oh, so there were multiple animals included. You should meet them. They're cute little guys. I'd be happy to meet them, as long as I can leave with a full set of eyes, nose, and mouth by the end of it. Oh, that face is cute. I'll be sure they won't touch a single hair on that head of yours, doe eyes. I simply shook my head. The idea of raccoons sounded cute, but I know not to mess with the wildlife. That's still really dangerous, Alan. Alan's expression seemed like that of an innocent kid who had no idea what he did wrong. I am still alive. Besides, you should have gotten the hint that I disregard most things. You didn't complain about living so dangerously when I stole that chocolate. I mean, I didn't like it. Hey, don't drag me into that. You stole that chocolate. And you're my accomplice. In the eyes of the law, that makes us both criminals, my doe. Arrest me then, officer. Yeah, bends over. I volunteer you as my cellmate. That way it'll be easy to break out of prison. Alan laughed at my jailmate escapism plan. Sounds perfect. I wouldn't mind you being my partner in crime. I can pick the locks for us. Of course you know how to pick locks. We continued to play around back and forth. It took nearly a solid minute for it to die down until we were left with a small awkward silence, but smiling at each other nonetheless. It was only then that Alan finally said something. By the way, is there a reason you came to find me? Actually, I got out of my house to get some food, but I heard some chopping noises and I instinctively knew it was you. Alan's eyes stared at me. I could tell his face just brightened up. Oh, you knew. I did. I could have sworn Alan giggled to himself, his face turning red and he swayed around ever so slightly. I stayed a bit longer for small talk. I'd forgotten why I was out here. Ask Alan to accompany you. Are you interested in coming with me to the store? I'm gonna get some food so I can stock up my fridge. Are we gonna steal stuff? No! His face grew sinister. I'm gonna guess he got excited about stealing again. Cool it, Alan. You might have swindled them by stealing candy bars. I highly doubt we're gonna get away scot-free with actual piles of food. You don't know that? Yes, I do. I absolutely do know that. We're not gonna rob the store, Alan.
Boo.
Yes, boo-boo. Alan poked out his tongue at me, playfully of course. I began to walk away, leaving him in the dust. His freakishly long legs only took 2 or 3 steps to catch up to me. We both walked to the convenience store. It was nothing more than just a casual hangout between us. As we entered through the doors, there was another employee eyeing us suspiciously the entire time. I wasn't sure what their deal was. I wonder if they know about Alan's shenanigans. They were mostly keeping an eye at him, glaring him down as Alan was invested in the rotating hot dog grill. They left us alone once I paid for my food. We got to my place, bags in hand. Quite the walk, but nothing we couldn't handle. Doomsbury was ideal to walk around and go to places that were easily accessible. They say fall was the best time of the year in this little town. I can already see some bright yellow and orange leaves cascading down from the trees before resting on the ground. It was pleasant to see the seasons change right before your eyes as time swiftly went by. Alan was right behind me. He awkwardly stood at the doorstep, his lips were pulled into a thin line as he seemed hesitant to enter. Don't be shy, come in. I beckoned him to take the first step. It was like trying to learn in a cautious stray animal, lost and confused. Alan finally stepped in, the creaky floorboards of the house releasing a soft groan under him. Alan seemed to settle himself in immediately. heading to the kitchen first before I could even tell him where it was. I guess he was as hungry as I was. Yeah, this place is a lot older than the town itself, but hey, it's home for now. I don't mind. You work with what you got. I dropped the bags of food on the counter and Alan followed suit. I rummaged through, taking out the key ingredients to make breakfast. Or brunch by technicality now. I was surprised how much food I was taking out of the bags. I didn't realize my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Shopping hungry really isn't the best the first thing in the morning, especially when you haven't eaten in a while. So, what are you in the mood for? Eggs in a basket? Sounds good to me. My feet took me to the fridge, prying open the door, still struggling with the stubborn handle. I managed to do it, thankfully. I turned my back to get anything else I needed for our breakfast. I could hear some shuffling from behind me, followed by Alan positioning himself next to me. Let me help you there, Doe Eyes. Yay! He's honestly very sweet. I jolted, startled by how close he was, but nodded as he settled in. You know how to cook, Alan?
Yes.
Actually, I don't eat or make much food at home, but breakfast is always my specialty. Curiously, chat, what is your favorite meal? Do you prefer breakfast or do you prefer dinner? Alan turned up the heat from the stove and placed a pan on top. He extended his hand out and I proceeded to give him the ingredients for our eggs. I could use this type of teamwork around. Specialty, huh? Am I in the presence of the finest breakfast chef in town? Will I learn from one of the best types of teachers? Oh, and who would that be? I wouldn't want to bore you with that. I let out an offended noise, placing a hand to my chest in a dramatic fashion. You're not going to tell me? Come on, you can't just say that and not expect me to get intrigued. He's not going to tell me. That's something that I noticed. Alan seems to know a lot more about me than I do of him. Keep the conversation going. Being mysterious all of a sudden, I quipped, crossing my arms across my chest while he kept silent. I caught wind of a frown on his face. It appeared I might have touched something sensitive that he doesn't want to talk about. Maybe I should lay off him. The familiar voice of Alan interrupts my thoughts. He was leaning in close by the second. I could practically feel his breath on my face, practically inches away. He was getting closer. Kiss him. Aww. I pressed my lips to his and he leaned in. Alan seemed like he'd been longing for it. He raised a hand to my cheek, craving more. He was nearly devouring my face like a starving dog. Whoa! It was getting hard to breathe. I tried to pull my lips away just for a moment to catch my breath. Ow! He smashed his lips again. Is this the classic tactic of shutting you up with a kiss? I began to shudder. My hands made their way to his chest. It was a pathetic attempt to try and pry him away. The kiss was magnetic and I only wanted more. Our hot breath hit the other's skin. Who knew Alan could take my breath away?
Was that good?
I only let out a breathy short laugh. I think you're rather greedy. Alan's thumb ran across my cheek affectionately. His touch felt warm and comforting, but I think I could also get used to this too. There was a pause of silence between us, but the sound of my heart beating against my chest roared through my ears. I couldn't read Alan's expression, his eyes only staring into mine. What could he be thinking about? I think we should eat now, huh? We don't want the food to get cold. I awkwardly said, writhing within Alan's arms to the counter. And, sorry I didn't mention this sooner, but I had to meet up with a friend later. Oh. Alan's face seemed to fall, all the joy and positivity now sucked out of him, just like how I'll suck something else out of him later. Yay! You can come if you want. I'm sure Erica wouldn't mind. His face didn't seem to change expression, not even an eye twitch. I feel like this is like making me more uneasy. I prefer it when they look jealous and angry. The fact that he's just like blank-faced makes me really wary. Hello, Put-Put. His face didn't seem to change expression. Erica. He mumbled under his breath, carefully considering the invite. If you don't want to, then that's okay. No, I'm going. I blinked at him. Well, if you're sure. Alan smiled at me as I grabbed our plates. That was a little strange from him. I hope I didn't make him feel obligated to come with me. After some time, I was able to remember where the park actually was. I don't visit much, only came for the occasional walk. It wasn't too busy around this time. There was the occasional kid here and there. The place was often taken over by old people feeding the pigeons or students from the campus. If I was really lucky, I would listen to some live music from the music groups and get tips from the locals. I even heard about really late-night college parties being hosted. I wasn't usually invited to any of them, the telltale signs if a party did happen. The park would be littered with those typical red solo cups. I looked over to Alan, expecting him to have something to say, but I was met with an unpleasant look from him. He seemed off. His eyes scanned around, looking almost like he was on guard. He saw that I was looking at him and instantly smiled at me, trying to come off that he wasn't bothered at all. I nervously flashed him back a grin in return. You know, I hear my name through the whole commotion of the park. There sat Erica on a bed of green grass, an intricate lacy pink blanket spread on the ground. Did she set up the study date like a picnic? She even packed snacks and drinks. You made it. I briefly waved at Erica as we both approached her. Her usual apathetic face never faltered even when she caught a glance at the sight of Alan. "Oh, you brought a friend?" She looked over to Alan and she seemed a little taken aback. In all fairness, I probably should have advised her beforehand. "You don't mind? Hopefully?" There was an awkward pause. Erica nervously adjusted her skirt before giving a response, but she still kept a cool head. No, that's fine. But this means I didn't bring enough food to feed all 4 of us." 4? Yay! I heard a voice coming up to my right, and I was met with a bright, cheerful face.
Hey!
"Hello, who's this nerd?" I recognized that dorky smile from anywhere. "Stu." My eyes slowly blinked and the hamster wheels in my head quickly started to turn.
You're here! It's been so long!
"Do I know you?" I stood there for a couple seconds in complete shock. The bastard I haven't seen since high school. I couldn't help but smile at him. "What the hell are you even doing here? You didn't tell me you were around." "I wanted to surprise you. Isn't that cool? Erica says she knew you and agreed to invite me to the study date so we could see each other." Hesitantly agreed. "Yeah. I like Erica, she's cool." I didn't think to realize me and Stu were letting our conversation get in the way of the study date until Erica cut it short, clearing her throat sternly. "Mind telling me that change of plans, Yinny?" "Oh, right." I nervously rubbed the back of my neck and gestured to Alan, who was standing right behind me. I didn't take into account that Alan was being left out of our chit-chat at my reunion. "This is Alan. We crossed paths not too long ago. As soon as I introduced him, I was met with silence." Erica and Stu looked baffled. Alan hasn't even uttered a word. "Hi." Alan's voice shook me up a bit, and I couldn't help but let out a nervous laugh. "Pleasure." "Hey?" Everyone falls into an awkward silence. Only the natural folly of the park filling the dead air. I had to think of a conversation starter quick. Talk to Erica. "So, what did you have planned for the study date?" Everyone's attention was now drawn to me as I called out for Erica. It only seemed fair to ask her what she wanted to do originally, right? It was her idea to meet up. "Right, well the idea was to study for our English assignment." She trailed off with her words and daintily held her chin with her hand trying to think. "If these 2 don't mind boring lessons, that is." Erica pointed at both Stu and Alan, only one of them smiled. "I don't mind." "There's that then." I look over at Alan, smiling up to him, only to be met with an unpleasant scowl. He was staring daggers to the 2 in front of him, but once his eyes met me, his expression softened. "Oh, that's a bit sus." Unease fell to the pit of my stomach. Usually Alan was more or less talkative with me, but then again, he told me he never really interacted with anyone else. I'm the only one he'd spoken to. Quite frankly, I thought he was kind of exaggerating. I mean, Doomsbury was such a small college town. Almost everyone knew each other, even if it was through a friend of a friend. We all sat down together, all in a neat little circle. The basket of food perfectly sat in the middle. Alan sat the closest to me, dropping down to the grass and positioned his knees up to his chest. I saw Erica take out some assignments in the book we had been assigned. "Should I go over the lesson for you?" "That'd be nice." Erica nodded at me, graciously placing a pencil right behind her ear while flipping through the textbook. Throughout the day, we mostly talked amongst ourselves while Alan and Stu sat in awkward silence. I looked over to Erica, noting how her fingers slightly traced over the text on the surface of the page. The book Erica was holding caught my attention. It looked rather old, the edges already fading from its original color, and the paper crinkled with every movement. "So what book did you pick for our assignment?" Erica turned to the cover of the book and I read its title, Whispers of the Hanged. The title sounded a little gruesome. "So what's it about?" "The actual history of the Salem witch trials. It goes through all the grim details of what women at that time went through. The excruciating executions." "That's a bit barbaric, eh?" There was a beat of silence. Erica gave him a look. I wasn't sure what to describe it as. Was that anger, surprise, or both? I feel like I should say something, but here's the tension. It is barbaric, but that's history, you know? I forced out a laugh trying to get the others to join. The only one that did so was Stu. Alan simply crossed his arms, and Erica remained silent, but looked down at her book. "Not a fan of real-life violent crimes. Or reading it for that matter." But don't you do the violent crimes?"
Good thing it's not your assignment then.
"Well, so much for that plan. I did the best I could. The tension was so thick you could cut it." "Hey, Yinny." Stu waved in front of me, graciously saving me from this awkward moment. "I hope you didn't replace me already. Look at you making friends." I let out a sigh of relief, and I was sure Erica did too. All the attention was now on Stu. If I knew him well enough, he could try his best not to appear socially awkward. Hopefully he can ramble his way out of this one. This takes me back to when we used to do homework together, remember? "Oh yeah, you copied off me." "You let me, not all the time." Stu stumbled on his words and let out a pout. "We would study in that old treehouse of yours, when in reality we would watch anime." I smiled at him, memories flooding back and with so much warmth still lingering in them. I was pretty sure Stu's parents knew we weren't even studying, but they didn't stop us. Stu gave me a smile, shuffling closer to me, naturally drawn to me again. Anime. I jumped, startled by Alan speaking. Stu appeared so as well, his face going white as he looked over my shoulder. I didn't even know Alan stood right behind me, his hot breath at my neck. Yeah, do you watch it too? Alan wasn't planning on replying anytime soon. He was like an on and off switch, only replying with as little to no words as possible and became silent again. That is so awkward. I would feel so bad if I was in this conversation right now. Anytime someone tried to calm down the situation, the atmosphere would become hostile again. I'm starting to regret bringing Alan with me. I tried to speak again.
Listen, man. I'm trying to be as friendly as I can with you.
Well, now it's even more awkward because Stu just called him out. When Stu spoke up before me, there was still some hesitation with the way he spoke. We're trying. He proceeded to gesture to both him and Erica, much to her surprise.
I get that you're also a friend of theirs, and we don't have to be your friends, but throw us a freaking bone. You don't have to be here.
Oh no, I'm nervous about this. I bet Stu is gonna be the first one killed. There was a beat of silence. My heart could stop right then and there. And who are you again? Do you even have plans after this whole college thing? From what I've seen, I can't really see you having a stable career. Any backup plans if it goes south? Alan! That is not a good thing to say. You can't just say that.
Okay then, that's it.
Erica closed the textbook she was currently reading. I think we should call it off from here. I blinked, a little taken aback by Erica's abrupt leave. Erica, I can't concentrate like this. We should try and plan out another day to study, hopefully with no other interruptions. There was a beat of silence as Erica gave Alan the side-eye. Alan only drilled holes in her in return. Without a moment to lose, Erica packed everything but let us keep the snacks she brought. I'll see you around, Yandere. Later, Stu. I watched her leave, feeling a bit defeated. I like Erica. I feel like she's a bit blunt, but she means well, like she brought snacks and a picnic blanket and everything. I feel bad. I guess this is also my cue to leave, huh? I looked back to Stu from blades of grass falling to his pants as he patted himself down. Sorry things got out of hand. We can hang out next time when you're free. Stu gave me a reassuring smile and bid farewell. He didn't even bother to say anything to Alan. I mean, I don't blame him with how things turned out. Well, that was a disaster. I couldn't stop replaying what happened over and over in my head. Seeing Stu and Erica's faces be so upset and even unsettled. I just wanted everyone to get along, but... Doe Eyes, are you mad? Yeah, kinda. Alan didn't seem to get it. You kinda treated my friends like shit. Like, I know they're funny, but they meant well. Really? What makes you think that? I snapped at him, rubbing the bridge of my nose in frustration. I just wanted to go home, and here is Alan walking behind me like a lost dog. I didn't mean to upset you. Oh, so upsetting Erica and Stu was with intent, right? He winced as we both reached the door at the front of my house. Well, you did invite me. Yeah, I invited you, but I didn't invite you to go and upset my friends. They weren't even doing anything bad to you. He spoke in a mumbling, soft tone. Alan looked down at the ground, anxiously hitting it with the tip of his shoe. His eyes looked at me as if I just kicked a puppy. He had a point. I did drag him to the park, but how was I supposed to know he would have pulled a stunt like that? I felt like Erica was beginning to enjoy my company, and Stu was there for me after so long. Was this whole thing my fault? No!
They shouldn't have left you. They left you. I know I'm not the best to be around other people, but that doesn't mean they can leave you behind when things get intense.
I didn't. I stared at him, and as he did so with me, it only hit me that unlike Stu and Erica, he stood by my side. I'm still upset, just a little bit less on him. No, wait! I don't know why I didn't expect him. A woodsman all isolated by himself in some cabin wouldn't get along with other people. Then why is it when I interact with him he's so easy to talk to? Because he likes you. I sighed. Mind if I stay? Whatever. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some extra blankets and a pillow for you. Oh, you don't have to, Doe Eyes. I can't leave you pillowless, Alan. Besides, I'm kinda cold. I quickly ran upstairs to my bedroom, leaving Alan by his lonesome for now. Luckily for him, my bed was swarmed with multiple blankets and pillows. It was like my own little comfortable nest where I could run away. I picked up a decently thick cozy blanket and a pillow, bundling up in my arms, the corners dragging across the floor as I awkwardly made my way downstairs again. I couldn't even see the steps of the stairs with this blanket wrapped around me like some sort of cocoon, but I managed to make it out alive. Alan gave me a smile, still sitting on my couch looking like a dog waiting for its owner. Throw the pillow at him. Hey Alan, think fast. I threw my pillow at him. With all the force I've got, I expected him to be caught off guard and watch him be hit on the face. However, to my shock, he quickly caught the pillow with his hand. A soft hit sound could be heard from his palm. Alan simply gave me a smile after placing the pillow in his lap. Thank you, Doe, he said cheekily, sticking his tongue out. I'll be honest, his tongue expression's really cute. Boo! I plopped myself beside him on the couch, throwing the blanket across the couch. It slowly landed on both me and Alan, taking its warmth. Now it was just us. Opposite sides of the couch in the cozy glow from the TV in silence. Yeah, just us. Hey. I smiled warmly at him, but there was a dreadful awkward silence between us. My eyes wandered off, panicking on what to say next. It's been a while since I watched TV. Thankfully, Alan brought up a topic. Same, I haven't sit down in my living room and watched something in a while. I heard some shuffling from the couch. He was getting closer. You know, we're kind of having a Netflix and chill session. I nervously laughed, scratching the side of my cheek. What's that? Alan looked at me with those big confused eyes of his. You don't know? Alan shook his head, leaving me dumbfounded. I guess that makes some sense. He lives out in the woods. He wasn't exactly someone I would take to understand modern slang, but he must have some knowledge, right? God, now I have to explain what that means. Well, it's like a thing that people do. It's sort of the casual date or hookup thing, you know? That was a terrible explanation, Yinny. So do you want to call this a date? I mean, it's on the casual side, like you said. If it's too casual or something, we can just say we're hanging out. I could only look at him, too stunned to speak. But I sensed he was waiting for a response. For me to hint at something more. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Alan tilted his head to the side like a confused dog. He had his whole focus on me. He shifted closer. Well, think about it. I gave it some thought, huddling my legs together. I was hesitant to answer. What could I even say to him? I wasn't sure how to feel about the situation. Alan just walked into my life and he was just kinda here now, like a pesky stray following me around, refusing to leave. I occasionally look back to Alan, those hopeful puppy-like eyes staring into me. I can't put my finger on it. It gets hard to befriend people as you get older, especially when you don't have a group to back you up. As I spoke, I didn't face him. My eyes stayed glued to the ground, piecing together whatever my mind thought of. But having someone like you immediately click feels freeing. And there was a beat of silence before I felt some weight shifting on the other side. Next thing I knew, I was being pushed down to my back, Alan slowly creeping towards me. Hey, yo! Then that's a good thing, right? He had me cornered. The most I could do was just lie there, stunned.
I could get rid of everything for you if you let me.
What do we talk about everything? Like, are we talking about all my pain and suffering? Or are we talking about, like, my pants? I swallowed nervously. I couldn't speak. Like something was stuck in my throat. His eyes pierced mine. It was almost uncanny that I couldn't guess what he was thinking. What should I even say? It felt like an eternity of nothing but silence. And my heart beating like a drum. I wanted to stay quiet, as if silence would take me out of the situation. Well? But Alan is not letting go without an answer. Say that you like him. Maybe I would like that. Maybe I'll like you. Alan huffed out a short, breathy laugh.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Whoa! I felt his callous hands reach for my face and he leaned in, sealing both of us into a kiss. As desperate and needy, Alan clung to me like his life depended on it and I didn't try to pull away. I couldn't help but find it intoxicating. I can barely breathe. Alan! I gasped out to breathe out some air, leaving Alan breathing heavily and looking at me, his eyes gawking at me like fresh meat, starved. Then he bit down. Whoa! How spicy does this get? Wait, I know it's not the most romantic setting, but are we really doing this? Do you want to? Keep going. Yeah, I do. Yay! A devilish smirk appeared on Alan's face. What a good dough.
You know, I could get used to this view.
I was not expecting that. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Look at his face. Can you blame me? I simply rolled my eyes, letting him indulge himself as he pleased. My body jolted at the sharp sting again. However, this was more than welcome. Another one here. His teeth are so sharp. Alan, can you... Ow! That one hurt. He sank his teeth in more and more. I could see Alan's eyes peering over me, trying to see my reaction. He let out a satisfied chuckle as I felt something warm pulling around that certain area he just bit. Did you just draw blood? Good boys don't bite too hard. I yanked on Alan's hair on impulse, hitching my breath. That seemed to get a reaction from him. Oh, sorry. No, you can do it again, actually. Could you pull a bit harder this time? Whoa! Oh, yeah.
You sound so happy. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. He's so breathy. Ow, wait. My begging fell on deaf ears, but then again, I was starting to become a mumbling mess with Alan not even giving time to process. My mind went blank as I hit my peak. It tastes so good. I breathed heavily as Alan looked up, a satisfied smirk permanent on his face. Someone looks pretty happy. You have experience with this kind of stuff? Maybe you can guide me through the whole thing. Maybe next time, Alan, but... I let out a yawn. Thanks. I really needed that, actually. Are we not gonna reciprocate? Are we not gonna, like, you know, finagle the schwang? Peaceful silence again. The TV softly drowned out our surroundings and my cheeks began to grow heavy. I felt soft kisses to my jaw trailing up to my cheek.
I'm looking forward to next time. Good night, Doe Eyes.
I was not expecting to be chumped. Alright, so that is days 1 and 2 of my Dear Hatchet Man. I'm actually really excited to have been able to play the remake of this. I know it has been a pretty popular like visual novel for quite some time, and I never actually managed to get around to it until now, and I'm glad that I did. I think this is the first time I've actually properly seen like a lumberjack love interest when you move to a small town. And it's definitely very interesting because he's really, really nice to you and really friendly at first. So there was genuinely no way to foresee how he actually would treat Erica and Stu, which I thought was really well done. I definitely didn't expect that last scene. The voice acting was done really, really well. Like it was like very partial, but I think that almost works like a treat because like when the lines like hit, they hit really hard, and I was like, oh my. But thank you so, so much for experiencing this story with me. If you guys are a fan of this video, feel free to give a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And also, if you want to hang out outside these videos, I stream on Twitch 3 times a week. Feel free to come over and say hi. And additionally, if you want access to my uncut reactions, exclusive spicy playthroughs, spicy art that I make, and previews of games that I'm currently creating, feel free to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description box below. But that's all for now. Thank you so much again, and until next time, take care.